Yes, Dasen, stay with us for a moment. Let me just update our viewers. What you're seeing to the left of your screen are visuals of another chopper helicopter view with Yusuf Abramji flying over Soweto. You will have seen a few moments ago a group of people running through the streets there. And, you know, we don't really have the context, of course, as to what that running is all about. But we're trying to give you as much of a picture as possible, pieces of the puzzle, so that you piece together for yourself when you listen to the briefings from the security cluster, when the president is addressing the nation. You piece together what they are saying with what you've been observing all day long. I mean, I've been on air for the last 2 hours. The colleagues before me on air, since early this morning. You've been seeing these visuals. It's almost like a never-ending movie, but except we are in it, except it's our reality. There's no, you'll see the credits rolling at the moment and say, phew. I'm glad there was a bad movie, a horror movie. It's the reality that we are living with at the moment. So what you're seeing to the left of your screen are visuals from Soweto. Yusuf Abramji flying over Soweto. There's been extensive looting in parts of Deep Kloof, in parts of the areas that have been covered by my colleagues. Some of the names of the places escape me at the moment. I think I heard something about Maponya Mall also being mentioned at a particular point, being subject of that. The area around Begimlangeni Hospital as well being subject to some of those attacks. So those are some of the flash points that you'll be hearing about throughout our reporting here on ENCA. Back to you, Dasen Thathiah. What you're showing us now contrasts sharply the scenery that we are seeing now. We can only wish that if only the situation was as tranquil as we are seeing the greenery that we are seeing there. But it sharply juxtaposes with the thick plumes of smoke that rise above the skies of not only Pietermaritzburg, but also of Durban as well.
You're right. There is this contrast between what we are showing you in the cities and what we are showing you out here. But don't be fooled by any extent, of the imagination, because we were also out in the north a few days ago, and what they're experiencing there is that kind of chaos, but in a different sense. There, the farmlands and the farms that are in the more outlying areas were coming under attack. We were told in the north, in Impangeni, there was a farmer that had to be airlifted out of his home because his farm and his farmhouse had come under threat. So as much as it looks a lot calmer here, it seems like the mayhem that we've been seeing in the cities is also affecting the more rural areas, albeit in a different way. There's so much going on here too, that's beyond the visuals and beyond what we've been showing you on the strip. There's also the anxiety, the fear, the way people are feeling right now in trying to get medical supplies. We are told that there are also in some cases helicopters that have to fly in supplies to certain places. There are people that have to be airlifted in and out of areas because they are complete blocks on certain areas. And as much as between Pietermaritzburg, where we are now, and Durban, you're taking in the scenic view, we can't get away from the reality of what people are facing right now and those fears that they're dealing with.
Sure, Dasen Thathiah flying over Pietermaritzburg and keeping a watchful eye, part of the team here at ENCA, giving you those visuals and the situations that we are facing. I'm told at this particular point we can hear from Yusuf Abramji. Yusuf, you are flying over Soweto. Where exactly are you at the moment and what are you observing?
We are currently flying over the Jabulani Mall in Soweto. A lot of activity on the ground. Moments ago, we witnessed an ATM. A group of looters were trying to destroy the ATM. And as we fly over the Jabulani Mall, there's a police chopper that has just arrived. The police chopper is flying rather low, trying to disperse the crowds from the air. Just a few minutes ago, we witnessed a few hundred people being dispersed by the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department. And as I look at the Jabulani Jabulani Mall from the air, a lot of damage has been caused. There are very few vehicles inside the parking area. There's only about 2 or 3 police vehicles that have been stationed. A lot of debris is scattered in the entire area around the mall. Extensive damage appears to have been caused by these looters over the past 24 hours. Directly across the Jabulani Mall is an engine filling station. It appears just a few minutes ago that the looters, the rioters, tried to attack a fuel tanker. In fact, the hose of the tanker has been destroyed, set on fire. Luckily, the tanker itself seems to be intact. We are not sure if the tanker is filled with fuel, but had the tanker borne up in flames, the damage would have been extensive. And as I look at the scene right above Jabulani Mall, there's just a few vehicles parked inside the parking area. There's only about 2 or 3 police vehicles on the perimeters. There's only 1 JMPD police vehicle. And just about 5 minutes or so ago, hundreds of these protesters were dispersed, many of them fleeing into the neighboring streets. And as we speak, the 1 JMPD police vehicle is trying to disperse the crowds. In fact, the police helicopter tried to make sure that the people attacking the ATM directly outside the Jabulani Mall try to disperse, and the police helicopter, as I speak to you, is flying very, very low. In fact, a large crowd was dispersed from the engine filling station. They ran into many directions into the neighboring streets around the Jabulani Mall, but very little soldier activity, very little, in fact, absolutely no sign of members of the South African National Defence Force, and even in terms of the South African Police Service, only 2 or 3 vehicles. As we flew to the Jabulani Mall, the Maponya Mall, just a few kilometers away, completely deserted, completely blocked to members of the public, not a single person in sight. In fact, the Maponya Mall has been completely sealed off, and again, only 2 or 3 vehicles that we spotted there. We also flew a few minutes ago over Alexandra Township, a lot of activity outside the Pan-African Mall. Smoke continues to billow out of the section of that particular mall, and again, large crowds gathered. It appears that some of these rioters are continuing to loot, and as my cameraman Knox tries to focus onto the parking area of the Jabulani Mall, you'll be able to see the extent of the damage. A lot of debris is scattered. A lot of the fast food outlets have been damaged. We are told that the ovens, the stoves, the equipment have been stolen. Most of the major retailers are here, based at the Jabulani Mall. Shoprite, Checkers, Discam, Food Lovers Market, and a number of other major food outlets. We are told that damage inside the Jabulani Mall is extensive. If I look at Soweto, which is very broadly speaking, very, very quiet, almost resembling a lockdown 5 situation, with very little activity on the roads, very little traffic, and very few people scattered. The crowd has been dispersed from the Jabulani Mall, have run about a kilometer or so, but it seems to me that they are now standing on the sides of the road. But there is still a few people outside the engine filling station. In fact, the engine filling station, it appears to me, inside the shop had been destroyed, and the police helicopter continues to hover above in an attempt to possibly get rid of some of the people from that particular filling station.
Sure. Death and destruction really is what we are dealing with, because we've had a number of people that have died. At the last count, we had 32. There was 26, according to Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, that's Sihle Zikalala, plus 6 here in Gauteng that have died. So 32 people having died, and also wanton destruction of property and looting, as Yusuf is showing you there from those visuals from Jabulani Mall. That's the mall I was thinking about, Jabulani Mall. It was looted extensively, extensively. You saw for yourself some of the tragic visuals that you were seeing there. Livelihoods lost. People that had a job at Jabulani Mall yesterday at the various shops there, they simply do not have that job as we speak. Yusuf, for a moment, I'm going to leave it there with you for now, but we continue to monitor your feed as you fly over Soweto and other parts of Johannesburg.